Seem nothing even matters. Seem nothing even.
Peace and blessings, family, and welcome back to A Queen's Crown, part 2 to our hair washing. Just a few reminders: if you are not following me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok, please do so. Also hit that subscribe button, that thumbs up button, and that notification bell so that you can receive notifications every time A Queen's Crown goes live, post, or share. Let's get back into another important thing you want to remember, even with washing our hair, and another reason that it is important to band and braid properly, is it helps eliminate buildup. What is buildup? Buildup is that stuff, that gook that gets in your hair. Maybe dandruff, maybe your hair is flaky, maybe you have dry scalp, maybe you use a lot of oil, maybe you use edge controls. You know, whatever different products that we put in our hair, it can cause buildup if we do not wash it out properly. There are some people who go with their locks forever. For example, me, I don't have buildup. I can't really think of any of my clients who have buildup because I am very, very strong with making sure that you wash your hair properly and understanding, you know, not just putting so much product in your hair. One thing about being locked and being free is we shouldn't have to add all of that stuff to our hair. Believe it or not, our hair produces its own natural oils, and that is why you have some people like me who may not oil or moisturize their hair but once or twice a month, just because my hair doesn't need it. There are some people who may need to oil their hair more, and for those of you who may have dry scalp, flaky scalp, dandruff, you may need to oil your hair a little bit more, not necessarily wash it more. Oiling it more, yes, you're gonna feel like it's kind of dirty, it's kind of clogged up, but it is a good way to help you to transition from washing your hair maybe weekly, adding that next week, maybe bi-weekly, adding that next week, to allow you to wash your hair less. So as you can see, my hair is still in the bun. I'm gonna take this bun out, and we're gonna start with doing 2 knots here in the back. The first one I'm going to start off with is, I like to kind of start, for whatever reason, in this corner. It kind of helps me guide from here. Make my little part. And this will be my next band 2 knot right here. Now, when it comes to buildup, keep in mind, it is hard to get out. Now, some people do apple cider vinegar rinse and things to get that buildup out. I've personally never done one, but from what I've seen, research, it does typically tend to work. For my traditional lock people, consult your consultant. Also, if you read the websites that I'm putting in the description link below and that I mentioned earlier, those also give some very good tips on hair washing. I want my traditional lock folks to also know that just because your locks are different than those with sister locks, tiny lock, micro locks, or any other locks, we all have a crown, and for the most part, taking care of it and maintaining it is similar across the board. So I just want to make sure that you understand that. Now, once we've done all of that, we've washed our hair, it's all clean, looking good, feeling good, what you're gonna do is dry it. But drying it, do you remember what I told you in the beginning? What drying tools should we be using? Maybe a t-shirt, maybe something like what I have. You know how you wrap your hair, how I had it in the beginning. Anything that is not frizzy, anything that's not going to cause lint to build up in your hair, that's what you want to use. Once you dried it and it's all good to go, at this point, this is when you would or should add your moisturizer. Moisturizing is going to be important for my new locked queens. It is very important that you keep your hair moisturized. And in the beginning, I recommend moisturizing for my new queens over oil. Your loctician may have already explained that to you as to why you should not use oil in the beginning. If she did not, I will explain it briefly here. What oil does is it just basically loosens our locks. It's very light in the sense of how it feels on our hair, but oil is very oily. And so the more you're oiling your hair, the more you're unloosing those locks, and it will cause your locks to take longer to lock. A lot of things that we do that we don't realize in manipulating our hair causes the time of locking to slow down. And if we don't know, we don't know. And that's what I'm here to help you with, to help you to understand some of the do's and don'ts that we should be doing so that we can maintain healthy, beautiful locks. And that's what this is all about. As you can see, I am still twisting, twisting, and twisting. And for those of you who have shorter hair, or maybe the length where this is the perfect style, it's not going to take you as long to do your hair as it's taking me, because as you can see, I have to twist all the way down to the bottom. For my lock queens who are already locked, there's really not a particular oil you have to use or can use or should use. You can use the olive oil from your pantry. I use so many different oils. Again, it's kind of like my shampoo, depending on what oil I like or that I see I use. I don't have a favorite one that I use as of now. And I don't even have one that I really recommend, because I may use one bottle and then when that bottle is out, I pick something totally different or not even go back to the same one. It just depends. So as far as which oil you should use or what oil you can use, it is your discretion what you like and what you want to use. All right, so as you can see, we are working our way around this crown, guys. And I just want to take a moment to say I really appreciate you all being here with me. I know you can choose any other channels to be on. I know you can choose any other person to watch. But the fact that you chose to sit here and watch me, I'm very grateful and appreciative. And trust me, I do not take it for granted or lightly. All right, so we have this lock done. Now, what are some of the challenges that you have? What are some of the things that you find hard when it comes to hair washing, or maybe not hard but frustrating? What are some of the things that you just don't like? For example, I don't like washing my hair. Believe it or not, I don't like washing my hair. I would prefer someone else to wash it, and maybe we all would prefer someone else to wash it. But just in the sense of washing your hair, I don't enjoy it. It's not even one of those things that I say, oh, I just got to do this because it has to be done. It's one of those things that I say, oh, it's time to wash my hair again. Okay, maybe tomorrow, that kind of thing. But I do it because it has to be done, and I do it right because it has to be done. And that's the thing that I want to make sure that you guys understand. Making sure you're doing it the right way. Anything, if we're making a cake and we put those ingredients in, and it says put a half spoon of something and you put a teaspoon, or if it says to put 1 cup of and you put a half of cup, it will change the outcome of what happens with that baked good that you're making. And it's the same with our hair. If we miss a step, if we just say, oh, I don't have to do this because, if we just say, oh, well, my friend did, or I saw on YouTube, and my sister, I did her locks. She was the first one that I installed. And I had just taken the class and we learned about all the different textures, but she was the first one that I had that had so many different textures in her hair. It was beautiful, and her locks now are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And the reason why is because she took the steps, she listened, and she did everything that she was supposed to. And if there was anything that needed correction, she listened, corrected, and this is why now her locks are flourishing. They're beautiful, they look amazing, and yours will do the same. The point that I'm making is that you can go on YouTube and you can find someone that you like and follow, and they can give advice that works for them. I recommend just checking with your loctician. Say, hey, listen, I saw this person on YouTube. They said this, they did this. Is this something that you would do? Is this something that you would recommend? And if it's something that your loctician says, I wouldn't do that because your hair texture is this, I wouldn't do that because your hair texture is that, then I would listen to your loctician, because she's gonna know best in the sense of creating that crown for you and what's good for it. One of the reasons why I wanted to start this channel is so that you can understand from a consultant's point of view what we mean and what we want you all to do as far as making sure that your locks grow beautifully, just like so many other queens out there. So I just want to make sure that we all understand that even going to other sources, even going to other people, keep in mind our journey is our own. It is uniquely made for us, and what someone else deals with and goes through on their journey may not be the same as yours, may not have the same outcome as yours. They may not even use the same products as you. But guess what? Their locks and their crown is beautiful and just as beautiful as yours. So we are working our way through these Bantu knots, family. What are some of the questions that you have for me? Please leave them in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Let me know what maybe your hair problems are. A lot of times, I know sometimes we just may not feel comfortable talking to our loctician. Maybe our loctician is just a quiet type. She doesn't really talk a lot. She just does your hair. And maybe you're someone like me who likes conversation and just kind of feel like, I don't know if I can ask her, or maybe she's someone you're not familiar with. You just kind of got her name off the website and you just don't feel comfortable. Whatever the reasons are, I'm here. You can ask the question. If I don't know the answer, I will look it up. And if I can't find it, I'll just let you know. I couldn't really find that answer, and I'll give what I recommend or what I think you should do. And at that point in time, you can take that advice and do it, however you choose to. So remember, we are just twisting. And keep in mind, when you do the Bantu knots, if you cannot wrap it, put the rubber band at the top, and then that way it will hold your hair as well. Now, if we continue on hair washing, after we take our hair out, it's been moisturized, it's been oiled, it feels really good, and we're like, ooh. And I don't know if you're like me, when my loctician massages my scalp after she's oiled it, it's just like heaven. And it's the same way. Sometimes when I wash my hair and I oil it and I rub my fingers through after that moisturizing, it's like heaven, like, oh, that just feels so good. So now that it's washed, it's clean, it's moisturized, and now it's just hanging. What am I gonna do to my hair now? Bantu knot. You put the Bantu knots in, but if you don't want the Bantu knots, some people don't like the Bantu knots. For my new queens, what you want to do is maybe braid your hair, twist it down. You will not believe how much braiding and twisting will help to eliminate some of that frizziness. It won't get rid of it completely, but it will help eliminate some of it. I tell people all the time that when you are going through that transition phase and you're in that frizziness, puffiness, it doesn't matter what you do, braiding and twisting is going to be your best friend. Even when you do a braid out or a twist out and you take your hair out, you'll still notice the frizziness, but you'll notice it's more channeled in, if that makes any sense. So we are almost done with our Bantu. For me, this is just one more row to go. And on this last row, what I want to talk about is some of the terminology that I mentioned earlier. Just want to make sure that we understand. One, understanding that banding is to take our hair from the ends, take a group or a bunch of hair, turn it like this to the side and rubber band it. Bunching is when we notice that our locks may be something like this, as I pointed out earlier, and it begins to bunch up. It is open. You'll notice it is knotted going all the way up and down, and it just happens to have this bunchiness to it. That is what we call bunching. Braiding is just like banding. It is when we take the ends of our hair and braid it. That would also be considered a part of banding. Budding is going to be the stage that we go through when our locks are getting that end piece. Let's see if I can find a piece that some of my locks have just been cut, so it is hard to really find a lock that is budding right now. But for example, like this piece right here, can you see that knot right there on the end? That is a bud. It is budding right now and turning into a lock. It's not fully locked. You can still see it's almost fully locked, but it is budding. It's kind of thick on the end. Can you see that kind of thicker? That is what we would call budding. Budding is the process that happens before that lock completely locks. Let me tell you, when you start seeing that budding, my new queens, you are going to love it. For my matured queens, again, keep in mind, all of our locks don't necessarily lock at the same time, and that's for everyone. Keep in mind that our locks may not all lock at the same time. And what I mean by the same time is you might have one side of your hair that is locking and another side that is not. As I mentioned about my sister earlier, when you have multiple textures in your hair, one section, your back of your hair may lock so much faster than the top of your hair, or vice versa. Just keep in mind, it's a process. I cannot stress that enough as to get you to understand that it is a process. And once this process is completed, although locking may be done and completed, the process and the journey of rocking our crown continues from that point on. So if you've heard of a terminology that I did not mention, please put it in the comment section. I'd love to hear, look it up, and then comment and reply to you about it. But for the most part, those are the main common things that you're going to hear about locks: tiny locks, micro locks, sister locks. And for all of my traditional lock people who are wondering if you can do this Bantu hairstyle, you can. Now, for those of you who have traditional locks that may be thicker, you may not be able to take a group of hair or a bunch of hair. You may be only able to take 3, 4, 5 locks and do it, but you can also still do this hairstyle as well. I am open and available for questions. If you guys have any questions, maybe something I didn't touch on, maybe something I missed that you deal with. Some of the things that I also want to make sure that I didn't point out earlier, but just kind of came to mind, is when washing your hair, and making sure that we get that soap and shampoo out completely is important. Sometimes it can leave us with a casting over our hair, and a lot of times if that happens, all you do is just rinse your hair again. Don't put any more soap in it, don't put anything else in it. Just go back through the water and rinse it. Now, if you have to do that, you will have to band again, band or braid. Please do not cheat it. Please do not try to get around it. I can tell you right now, if you just try to put oil on it, it's just going to make it worse. I know a lot of times we try to look for a quick fix, but at the same time, you want to make sure that it's done right and correctly. All right, queens, so I just appreciate you guys. Let me know what you think about this style. Did you think it's easy? Do you think it's too hard? Give me recommendations. If you prefer to see me do a particular hairstyle, if you like something, send me a picture, email me, and let me know what you think. I would love to try it. I am always up and looking for trying something new. So please let me know what you think about the Bantu knots. And if you try it, send me a picture. Let me see what it looks like, or drop a picture below in the comments. I would love to see what it looks like once you've tried it yourself. Or you can email me at crownherwithlove@gmail.com, and I would love to see those. So thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Keep in mind, again, if you have not followed me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, please make sure you do so. I also post and let you know when I'm going to be coming on. I am going to provide you content weekly. So this way, I don't necessarily have a date like every Friday it will drop, or every Saturday. But what I can tell you, and I will provide you with content weekly so that you have something. And Fridays does seem like the day as of now, but it may be Saturday. I'm not really sure. So I want you all to see what the end results are. Like it. I like it. I always call it a real Afrocentric look. I love the dancing. So I appreciate you all again. If you have not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button and the notification bell so that you can get notified every time a Queen's Crown goes live, post, or share. Thank you all so much for rocking with me today, and I'll see you all in the next video, family. Amani na upendo.